Good morning, everyone. Please be seated. Just a quick check. Can everyone hear me okay? Okay. All right. Wonderful. So back in February, I had the wonderful opportunity to travel to India for my best friend's wedding. It was an amazing experience that I will definitely carry with me for the rest of my life. I was filled with some of the kindest people I've had the chance to meet. I ate far too much curry and food and all that good stuff, and a vibrant culture that I really think everyone should experience at least once in a lifetime. But I often still, in the months since the trip, reflect on how nervous I was before my travels. In many ways, I knew what to expect from my research. I knew what the weather would be like, some cultural norms, even what to expect from an Indian wedding, which is to expect everything. Yet, I still knew that there would be a level of culture shock that no travel book could prepare me for, no travel guide could prepare me for, and I promise this will come in handy in just a couple minutes. This morning's gospel reading from the book of John takes us front and center to one of arguably the most striking narratives from Christ's resurrection. After Jesus appears to the disciples in Jerusalem, Thomas, who was not present for the initial meeting, finds him the proverbial odd one out. Not only was Thomas not present for this appearance, he now found himself to be the lone disciple who hadn't had a personal experience seeing the risen Christ, and thus he doubts. Not only is this story striking in its human simplicity, it's a story that tends to transcend mainstream culture, aka being called a doubting Thomas. There are a lot of different layers that can be gleaned out of what is really quite a short story, but the aspect of this resurrection account that's always personally stuck out to me is my own personal level of gratitude towards Thomas. And I'd be willing to wager that many of us in this room are grateful for Thomas if we really think about what his moments of doubt have done for us believers throughout the ages and now in 2025. I unfortunately don't have the time today nor the knowledge to fully dissect doubt. It's a complicated part of life that unfortunately seems to pop up at the worst possible moments. But I think I can say with a reasonable degree of certainty that most people feel it at some point or another. I definitely have. I'm planning to head to seminary next fall, which is an amazing experience that I'm so excited for and feel so blessed to be doing, to be partaking, but I'm not without my own doubts. For us Christians, Thomas's moments of doubt illuminate just how hard this uncertainty can make it be to believe in Christ, or to believe in his resurrection, or even just to believe in God in general. But I want to return to how grateful I am to Thomas. Not simply because he doubted, but because he spoke up. He expressed his frustrations to his friends instead of simply taking Christ's resurrection on face value from the other disciples. It almost certainly would have been easier for him to smile and nod and go about his day. Oh, you saw him. Great. Wonderful. See you later. Sometimes we all find ourselves smiling and nodding when challenged or confused, to spare ourselves from having to think deeply, or from having to reflect, or from having to expend the mental energy required to ponder life's great mysteries. Regardless, Thomas spoke up, and my goodness, how grateful I am that he did. Him speaking up allowed for one of the most impactful exchanges between Christ and a disciple that I believe is in the Bible. In a way that only Jesus can, he simultaneously scolds, teaches, and loves Thomas, all within a handful of sentences. Put your finger here and see my hands. Reach out your hand and put it in my side. Do not doubt, but believe. Helping Thomas overcome his doubt was so important to Jesus that he was willing to expose the most vulnerable part of him, a gaping wound, all in the name of faith. And yet, the encounter is not without a slight slap on the wrist for Thomas, a slight comeuppance. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have come to believe. This exchange between Thomas and Christ is so relatable that it just feels timeless. There are many other challenging teachings and parables and gospel narratives that can be viewed intellectually with historical context, and personally, they challenge me a lot whenever I read them. This one, not so much. Thomas's experience here with Jesus, it feels so familiar. It seems to be a recognition on the part of God and Christ that this journey of faith we are all on is painfully challenging, that our human impulses often demand tangible proof of something before investing any further. Because of Thomas's openness to speak about his doubt, whether motivated by bravery or foolishness or probably a little bit of both, we get a much clearer picture that tells us where God stands on human doubt. God understands. Christ understands. After all, Jesus took the form of a human being to live as one of us and to die painfully as one of us, living virtually all experiences in between. But God also demands more of us as disciples, to be able to live through faith and to invest and to commit, even if there is no crystal clear proof like Jesus' wounds right in front of Thomas. No Thomas, and there's no guarantee we would get this level of clarity on how God sees doubt and how he wants us to believe in spite of it. According to church tradition, Thomas's final stop on his quest to spread the gospel brought him all the way to southern India. For context, a trip from Jerusalem to this part of India would have been a little bit over 4,000 miles. For Thomas to do this journey on foot, with many stops along the way, with no real sense of what was ahead 2,000 years ago, propelled only by his love and belief in Christ, is something I think is really, really special. If I was nervous for my trip on Delta Airlines, with unlimited movies, a comfy neck roll, all the accoutrement economy has to offer, God only knows how Thomas felt. But he marched on. In fact, church tradition also holds that Thomas likely traveled the furthest of Christ's original 12. Would he have engaged in such a far-reaching, dangerous ministry without his moments of doubt? I'm not sure. I don't know. I can't be 100% certain. But I think Thomas is a great example to all of us that when we can be honest with ourselves and with God and with our siblings in Christ about our doubts, you never know what amazing things might just happen. So as we continue in this glorious Easter season, I encourage you all not to simply smile and nod when encountering doubt or uncertainty, but to pray, to speak to loved ones, and perhaps to think about the example set for us by our brother Thomas.